Greetings, greetings. This is Coach Charlene, and I am trying something new. I am going live. Hello, when the moment chooses you, audience. I have not been live in this platform, but I just wanted to pop on and thank you for listening to When the Moment Chooses You. So, I'm going to be doing something new this year with my podcast. In addition to continuing on having these wonderful guests on, I'm also going to start doing a little let's chat in the moment, let's chat. And I'm going to do that as a follow up to all of my podcasts that I usually host on Wednesdays. And so I'm looking forward to engaging with you. And so I'm going to just things that resonated with me from the podcast that I just did the week prior is what I'm going to be actually talking about. Just the insights that I gained from it and also what it stirred me and caused me to want to do. So I hope you will join me. I'm going to do it every Saturday and I'm going to do it early at 8 o'clock so I can give you some inspiration and some motivation and transformation in the morning before you start your day. So thank you for joining me. Even if you listen to this later, thank you. And make sure you engage with me and tell me some of the things that you would like to talk about. But today I am going to kind of talk about Kim Scott was with us last Wednesday and she was like totally off the hook. Like she really was off the hook. And she talked about, we titled hers, Stop Playing It Safe. And she talked about making the ask. And so I want to unpack what I thought about that particular podcast and what's really important about it because we all play it safe. Like, honestly, let me ask you a question. How many of you have played it safe most of your life? Many of us have played it safe. You know, I had shared some things, I think a few podcasts ago, about playing it safe. And my husband, he shared this with me, this quote, and it said, many seek security, but the more security you seek, the more imprisoned that you become. And the highest form of prison is maximum security. And so you don't want to be locked up in maximum prison for your whole life with the dreams and the books and the businesses and the ministries and all of those wonderful things that you were called to do, that you were supposed to start. You don't want to lock those things up and not allow that potential that you have to manifest those things not to come out. And so that's why I love inspiring people because I had to make the ask even to do this particular podcast. And let me tell you a little bit about that because, you know, a lot of times we do not make the ask because we're dealing with a few things. Let me tell you a few things that I think of my opinion, and that is we have to challenge our negative thoughts. And so remember in there, Kim was mentioning about GGS and she talked about changing your mindset and you have to have the growth mindset. And I know a lot of people because you're not working on yourself or you've been let's see, what word could I use for that? You've been indoctrinated or you believed in someone else's opinion of you that you're not feeling confident enough to make the ask. And so our brains, let me just say this really quick. Our brains are designed to keep us comfortable. It's designed to keep us in homeostasis. And so it's so important for us to fight against that. Now, it's okay for certain things. Now, our brain is designed that way because we would have to process so many different bytes. And that's way too much information. We already are overloaded by all of the social media, knowledge, everything. All of that has to be processed through our brains. And so our brains figure out ways to categorize and put things in place so that you won't have to think about things, every thought that comes into your mind. So that keeps you balanced. It's equilibrium. It keeps you like, just coasting. So when I believe when God drops a dream or an idea or insight or something for you to do into you, immediately that is your moment where you can say, oh my goodness, I can do this, or I want to explore this, or I want to at least start thinking about what I just heard. Or you will say, oh my gosh, I'll never be able to do that. See, that's the negative mindset that I'm talking about, and the negative thoughts. Is you have to identify and then challenge those negative thoughts. I talked about the inner critic before. The inner critic is also what I would call the enemy within, because if Les Brown said, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. And so there's a lot of barriers that we place within ourselves. And one of my coaches, our mentor, Coach Al Hollingsworth, he mentioned in his book, Wake Up, It's Time to Dream, that the intrapersonal blocks, that's the person within, that's your inner chatter that you have on the inside of you. That is the one that tries to block you from every good thing that is going on with you. It's intrapersonal. It's the enemy within. It's the inner critic. It's the one that tells you that you're not able to do this, you're not able to do that. That is the inner critic. And that's why you have to challenge those negative thoughts. And I like to say, for me, I challenge it with the inner coach. The inner coach steps in and begins to combat those voices that tell me that I'm not enough, that I won't be able to do it, I'm not smart enough. Is you have to counteract all of the negative voices that you hear. And so Miles Monroe mentioned in this book that the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but it's life without a purpose. And so when you lose your passion and you lose your purpose to continue going on, you kind of operate in this hypnotic rhythm, I'll call it. You get up, you go to work, you stop by the store, you do, it's this cyclical pattern that you do over and over again, so much so that you don't even remember how you did it. You do it so much. And so when we think about stop playing it safe, you have to disrupt what you're doing, the norm that you're doing. You have to leave the land of familiar. In the scriptures, of familiar scriptures, when Abraham was told to get thee out of thy father's house into a land that I will show you. And so, right there, to do something new, he had to move from where he was. He had to get thee out of what is familiar to you. I've given you a dream. I've given you something wonderful to do, but you have to move from that location to a different location. You cannot hold on to your history at the expense of your destiny. You have to be able to cut off and leave some things that are not serving you well so that you can move into the new. And so that's about stop playing it safe. That comfort zone, you guys, I call it the cubby hole. It is no joke. It is so easy because I've created this hypnotic rhythm to stay comfortable. It feels good in the comfort zone. I'm not being challenged in the comfort zone. I'm kind of miserable in the comfort zone because there's something in me calling me to do more, calling me to be, do, or become a better human being, or to start something, or to influence something, or to speak on a topic. But I let my comfort zone tell me, you know what? No, maybe you shouldn't do that. And so that's what we have to get. The comfort zone is not a great place. Playing it safe might shield you from disappointment, but it also shields you from your progress. And all of us want to progress. We want to progress and be all that we were destined to be. And so we got to get rid of that. And we got to stop playing it safe. And I'm talking to myself because this year is going to be a year that I do some different things. Even coming live, this is a little different. But my producer said, Charlene, you need to come live a little bit more. And so I thought it was a fabulous idea. It was already an idea in my spirit. And so I was like, okay, yes, let's do it. Now, breaking free from the comfort zone. How many people would love to break free from the comfort zone? All of us would, I guarantee you. And by the way, this is like a total informal YouTube. So I would love for you to join into my chat if you have any questions. If you've figured out a way to combat what I'm talking about, please feel free to interact with me and let me know that you're here. I did not announce this because I was just playing around with it last night and getting things ready and trying to figure out how to jump on live stream. So next time I will make sure that I put something out just to give people a heads up. And so let's talk about maybe a few tips of breaking out of the comfort zone. I told you to challenge your negative thoughts. Then here's the second one: embrace failure as a learning opportunity. What do you mean, embrace failure? I don't want to fail. I hate failing. See, in school, we have been taught that it's bad when you fail. And so that's the challenge. All that has been drilled into our head for so long, so that when failure happens, we're so afraid to fail. And that's how we've been groomed. See, that's how we've been enculturated in our society to think that failure is bad. But we know, if you study any of the people that are really making things happen, failure becomes momentum. You learn from your failures. I remember in this program that me and my husband taught, Boss the Movement, Building on Spiritual Substance. It's a youth leadership academy for children, teaching them how to birth their dreams, their visions, and their ideas. And one of the principles in there was that you must be willing to fail often to succeed just one time. So you have to start getting comfortable with saying that, okay, I'm going to do this. And if I fail, I'm not going to allow this failure to stop me from achieving what I'm trying to achieve. So, bottom line, failure is part of the process. And so we learn from our failures. And that's why I always use the statement, don't hold on to your history at the expense of your destiny. See, I can learn from my history. I can learn from my failures. I can learn from my mistake. I can actually grow from them because that failure exposed something that I need to do differently. And so that's why you have to see, and that goes back to what Kim was talking about with her growth mindset. It's so important for you to be able to always see things with your growth mindset. Do not see it with your regular carnal mind, because your carnal mind will beat yourself up. The inner critic will beat you up because you failed. And so you have to be able to combat against that. And then the other thing, the third one that I would say, is to change your perspective. Instead of focusing on potential negatives, consider that there could be positive outcomes, that you may be great, that you may write the book, that you'll be able to start the business, start seeing yourself already doing it. And that's really what faith is, right? Faith is seeing it before it come into existence. When you have vision in your heart, you can see beyond your eyes. And that's what I love about being a dreamer. I don't have to see it currently around me, but if I can see it beyond my eyes, if I can see it on the inside, then I can have it on the outside. So you have to change your perspective. Let's try not, and I know it's difficult, but with practice, I believe that every time a negative thought or a negative image come up, you can change that with the inner coach by creating something powerful, or affirmation, or the word, or whatever it is that helps you to regain your composure. You start using that, and then you will do it repetitiously. And then instead of you just speaking words, your words will carry weight, and then do what you need it to do, which is to shift your mindset, which is to transform your mind, because our minds does need to be transformed. Because if you grew up a certain way and you didn't have the growth mindset, and maybe people told you you weren't enough, and that you're never going to be anything, and that you'll never amount to anything, if you have those negative words on the inside of you, then guess what? You're going to have to do some war to transform that thing that is trying to get you to speak that, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. You're going to have some words that empower you on the inside. Now, for me personally, I am a Christian and I do study the word. And so whenever I get in situations where I'm being overwhelmed with negative thoughts, with thoughts I call of the enemy without is trying to tell me that I can't do it because I'm not smart enough and I'm not, I'm this, I'm that. No, I don't listen to that voice. I use the words that I am more than a conqueror, that I can do all things. All of those words that empower us and encourage us. And so, okay, let's move on to another part which I loved Kim talking about, and she talked about being bold and making the ask. Okay, how many of you have made the ask when you know you are nervous, but you did it anyway? It feels great when you can make the ask. If you do not ask, you do not get. Your asking is you saying, I know who I am. I know the skills that I possess, and I believe that I can add value and bring value to whatever it is that you're trying to make the ask for. Now, does it always result like you want it to? No, it may not. But boy, you will live so much better if you make the ask even if it didn't work out like you wanted it to. That builds your confidence because if you never ask, the answer is always no. Literally, if you never ask, the answer is always no. So if I never ask for what I want, then I will never get it. And so is so important, especially now with competition, the way that it is, with so many people searching for the same positions, perhaps, or trying to create platforms and things like that. You have to be able to make the ask. And don't you believe in yourself enough to make the ask? Aren't your skills, aren't your talents, aren't your giftings awesome enough for you to be the one that's chosen? I believe that it is, but you have to believe in your own significance. When you finally get to a place of where you believe in your own significance, then you will not be moved by what other people say about you at all, even their unrealistic expectations. You have to do and you have to be or become so that you can feel confident enough so that you can be all that you were destined to be. And so now I am going to talk about being bold. How can I be bold? What's the challenges with being bold? I think one of the biggest challenges with being bold is not having clarity. Because if you don't know who you are and you don't know the value that you bring or add, then you're not going to go into the situation confident. And so I think that you have to spend some time really honing in to what I call your unique gift. One of my unique gifts is inspiring other people. And so I know that. And so I began to start inspiring people. I began to start doing Facebook videos, regular videos before Facebook. And then I just started saying what was on my heart to be said. And it started inspiring people. I inspire people everywhere that I go. And so you have to find your unique, that distinct, that thing that makes you different, that thing that makes you unique, that thing that only you can do because it's only one you and there's nobody else that has your fingerprint. There's nobody else that can duplicate your breaststroke. So you have to believe in your own significance. Hey there, Nehemiah. Yes, we got to make the ask. Make the ask. Thank you for chiming into the chat. Now, let's talk a little bit about how many of us have failed to make the ask because of fear. So remember Kim, she shared how powerful it was to make the ask. That resonated with me so much. And I think about, forever, I remember as a kid, I remember my mom used to say, God says if you ask not, you'll have not. You start hearing those things as kid and you don't really know what it really means yet. But big enemy of fear and self doubt. And I kind of talked about that a little bit. That's why a lot of people don't make the ask. They think that people are going to reject them. And so they don't like the feeling of rejection, the feeling of being told no, the feeling they feel like that is a failure. And so that's goes back to the inner you. You working on you. The inner coach has to do some work on the inside of you. First of all, if you've spent the time and you know your craft and you know you're awesome with it, if you've taken time to get very clear on what you have to contribute to humanity, what your gift is that you're going to serve humanity, then you have enough to be confident about. So you have to start working with those self-limiting beliefs, with all of the doubts that you have, the imposter syndrome, thinking that you're a fake. You have to believe in your own significance. It goes back to that again. Another thing, of course, is past experiences. And I talked about that a little bit. Well, I tried to do it before and it didn't work. Well, try it again. Because this time, maybe this time you'll be confident enough to believe that what you have to offer somebody needs. So you have to be confident of your abilities to know that there is somebody that needs what I have. There's someone that needs to hear what I have to say. There's someone that needs this product that I have. You see, that's the kind of power that I'm talking about. I'm talking about knowing your worth, knowing your value, and not being ashamed to sell yourself. We're not taught to do that. We're taught to kind of play it safe. Matter of fact, your brain wants you to just chill out, chillax, coast through life, and don't do anything great. That's what our brains want to keep us safe. And I keep reiterating that because it's like totally a war in your mind because you have to get to a place where you're like, you know what? I'm not listening to you. I am moving out and I'm going to jump. Even if I jump out and do something that I believe is in my heart to do and then it fails, then guess what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to dust myself off. I'm going to learn from that experience. And then I'm going to go into digging into how I can do it better. You see, you have to, that's the mindset that keeps you winning, not the mindset that says, you know what, man, I failed. But do you believe in what you have to bring? Do you believe in your own significance? Then keep trying. You have to keep trying. I know there was some research that said most people try 3 times and after the third time they fail. I mean, they will not try again because those failures is too much for them. So you want to be the kind of person that has that tenacity. It's like how big and how strong is your want to? How bad do you want that dream in your heart? How bad do you think that that book is going to impact humanity? You know what I mean? It's that kind of stick to itiveness. It's that kind of press. You have to enter into the press to be persistent. And sometimes you being persistent is so lonely because everybody else around you is like, okay, what is she? They're not really getting things done, but nobody knows what you're doing. Um, in behind those closed doors of you rolling up your sleeve and believing in your own significance and believing in the vision that's in your heart so that you can impact humanity. And of course, I already talked about the comfort zone, but also social and cultural constraints. I know as I grew up in my family as a kid, and we do that. We do it because we've learned to do it. And a lot of times, I know a lot of my reasoning for not taking risk is like as a kid, when we're really young, if you remember your parents, they're always saying, no, don't do this. No, don't touch this. No, don't. And of course, you want to make sure that you're safe, but you keep doing it so much that now when when you turn into an adult, you're like, okay, I want to try, but you hear no, you can't do that. No, you're going to do this. No, you're going to hurt yourself. No, all of the no, no, no. And after years and years and years of programming that what not to do, then you just kind of coast. And then when it's time, when that dream is tapping you on the shoulder and telling you to jump out, you got to fight through that past cultural upbringing of no. And that's why I said that you have to transform your mind. I had to get to a point where I had to transform my mind so that I can say yes instead of saying no. Because when you say no, the answer is no. You will not move out and do the things that's in your heart to do. And so let's talk about a few keys to help you make the ask. And I kind of mentioned it a little bit in there, but clarity and direction. By making the ask, you articulate your desires and your goals, which helps you to gain clarity about what you truly want in life. What do you want? I'm not talking about a car or, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about what do you really want? What impact do you really want to make? How do you want to be remembered before you leave the earth? Like, what is your impact? And you need to discern that for yourself. Most people, it's the hardest question. I know it's the hardest one that I've had to answer. And I'm still in the process of answering it. But imagine being able to say, what do you want? And I'm not talking about, oh, give me $50 million and then everything's good. Because we know already that a lot of people that have a lot of money commit suicide. So it's not that, it's talking about the fulfillment, your assignment, what it is that you want to do that makes you come alive and feel so amazing every day that you wake up. So clarity and direction. When you have clarity, you have direction. The most important thing that I've learned about clarity, because I thought, and it is that too, is so I thought when you get clear, then you'll know the direction to go. And you will know that. But sometimes uncertainty, when you recognize where you're not supposed to be, that gives you so much clarity that you can move into where you need to be. So I hope I explained that right. When you are seeking something, you don't really know what it is that you need to do, but you know what you're not going to do. You know where you're not going to stay. And so that clarity helps you so much to be more confident and as you move ahead in the steps ahead of you, because now you do have direction. You know that, okay, I can't stay here, so I have to go somewhere else. And so you begin to seek, you begin to ask, you begin to explore, you begin to visualize where you're supposed to be. So clarity and direction, which is so important for when you're following your trying to get to your destiny. And then empowerment, making the ask empowers you to take control of your life. You stop waiting for permission and you start moving out and doing the things that's in your heart to do. Because most of us want validation, we want approval in order to do the things that's in our heart to do. So, this is a sense of empowerment that boosts your confidence and your resilience, enabling you to overcome challenges more effectively. Now, that's a powerful statement. When I am clear on my vision and I am moving in the direction of my vision, then I'm willing to deal with the tough stuff. I'm willing to deal with the failures. I'm willing to deal with the people that keep telling me no. The fact that I keep getting rejected from certain things. See, I'm willing to go the distance because I believe in my own significance. I believe that this thing that I believe that I came to the earth to do, that I was born to do it. So I keep pressing in, even in the midst of the obstacles. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Even in the midst of you not knowing what to do, you believe it in your heart so much. All you got to do is keep putting one step in front of the other. Keep asking, keep seeking, keep knocking. There's so much information out there. So you will not be stuck if you just keep moving. And then the third one I want to talk about is personal growth. The act of making the ask, it definitely involves stepping out of our comfort zone, facing our fears, and really getting to know you. Who are you really? Who are you? And that's really what you have to really spend time quiet, alone, to find out who you are. Many of us love chatter. We love a lot of noise. And so it's really difficult to know who you are. But if you get to a point where you can just practice being silent for like 5 minutes, I mean, okay, start out with 1 minute because your mind's going to be busy racing and you can't even hear, but get quiet enough, practice getting quiet so that you can find out who you really are. Who are you in times of crisis? Who are you in times of plenty? Who are you in times of lack? Who are you really? And that's so important because there's a quote, and I think it's by, let me see, Paul Coelho, but he says maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming, but it's about unbecoming everything that's not me so that I can become who I was destined to be. So this goes along with that past baggage, that past trauma, that past history. We have to chip away the trauma, the pain, the history that has weighed us down. We have to peel those layers, unbecome it. Just because I grew up a certain way doesn't mean I have to say the same way. I have the power to change the trajectory of my life by just changing my mindset, by transforming how I think about things, by visualizing how I really want to see and be. You can do that. And so unbecome all of those things that don't serve you well. Become anything that causes you to feel less than who you really were destined to be. So, very important. Personal growth, guess what? It's a 24/7 job. It's forever. And that's why I don't have time to talk about nobody else because I am a full time job. And it takes me to keep me together and me to continue to be a continual learner to find out the things that I need to work on for myself. So, critically important for your personal growth. Constantly process and stretch yourself so that you can become a better person. Learn how to love more effectively. Learn how to forgive quick. Learn how to surrender more. Learn how to say no more. Stop doing everything for everybody and learn to say no. And then I'm going to do one last thing, networking and relationships. Very important when you talk about making the ask. As we heard Kim mention about the power of mentorship, those connections are very critical. Making the ask often involves us reaching out to others for support and collaboration. So make sure that you connect and network with those that you want to perhaps be mentored by, or you like what they're doing, and so you want to collaborate with them, or you like where they're going and you want to be a part of it. Don't be afraid to ask someone, hey, can you connect with me? Can you coach me? Whatever that is, it is an amazing thing. I know for me, along my journey, as I continue to inspire other people, as I continue to be the dreamer, to be a trailblazer, to be a change agent, I've had many people that say, Charlene, I want you to be my coach. I want you to help me to get through the tough times that I'm having. And so you will be able to do the same thing. But if they never ask, hey, can we go out and have dinner? Can you be a part of what I'm doing? It never would have happened. They had to make the ask. And so we all have to make the ask. So I'm encouraging you as early as January 2024. Okay, it's almost February, like honestly. But now let me see, I'm going to think about, yeah. So I want you guys to start joining me on this. I know some of you guys are going to watch this later. Hey, Dominique, you're loved and appreciated. Yes, forgive quick is a word because when you don't, I had a visual. I had that just made me think of something. So I'm gonna go on that tail for a little bit. When you think about self and systems, people, and all of that, I had a visualization, and I actually tried to draw it out on Canva, and so it's a heart, my heart. It got this red heart and this prison walls. And so I drew it out that way. And then what I got from it is that when I'm not forgiving someone, or if I'm ticked off at somebody or pissed off and I don't want nothing to do with them, I have a little bit of blockage in my heart, and that's what God showed me, that my heart is locked up, so I really can't love fully like I was designed to love. Now, just because I forgive someone doesn't mean that I let them walk over me. Some people I have to love from afar because I don't allow them access to traumatize me, in a sense, if you know what I mean. But yeah, no, that's true. But you want to be the best version of yourself, the full expression of who you are, and you want to get to where I believe that God is trying to take us, and that's somewhere great. Um, Last one, I promise this is the last one. Setting boundaries. Making the ask involves you setting boundaries and communicating your needs and expectations. You cannot keep allowing people to infiltrate your life. It's about making the ask. So, even making the ask to say, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. I'm not going to be walked on anymore. Going to allow whatever that is to infiltrate my field. So, one of the things that I do when I go to work, I've been doing it probably for about 12 years now. And so, before I even get out of the bed, I say I walk in undisturbed composure. Because what I found when I became a leader, all of these darts were being thrown at me, and just it was just a very challenging transition. So I had to figure out a way to be one up on it where it didn't cause me to change who I was. And so I walk in undisturbed composure. So undisturbed composure really tells you that every day in life we're going to have disturbances. Life is going to come and life is going to be life. But I choose to walk in undisturbed composure. So that's my mantra. That's what I set in my heart before I go out. Because back then, as soon as I looked at my phone, I would be disturbed because I would get negative news. I would get somebody complaining. It would be something like that, especially as a leader. So I started saying, you know what, I am not going to allow this to get in my force field. I'm not going to allow this to get in my force field. So when I when I do that, I set an intention to say that my day is going to go undisturbed. Well, let me tell you something. Does it go disturbed? Yeah, there's disturbances that come left and right, but I choose to not allow that to penetrate my undisturbed composure shield. Are there times that I need to step away to regain my composure? Absolutely, because I think one of the important things that I live by is my brand. My brand is my bond. My brand is who people say that I am when I'm not in the room. So I I walk in that, and I love to walk in that because I'm confident with who I am, and I'm not gonna let anybody tick me off to the point where I start acting ugly and a bad attitude and all of that. So anyway, all right, all right, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining. I know you guys are gonna look at this later, but it has been an honor. So put this on your calendar. I'm gonna be doing these every week on Saturday, and I'm gonna be unpacking whatever was discussed during the week. And I just want to thank you so much for being with me in the moment live, and you have a great day, and I will see you next week.